Rob, up and running at last, you must be very pleased.
Yes, obviously, fantastic to get the bonus point as well. And I think the nice thing in some ways was it wasn't a vintage performance, was it? We did enough, really. I think that's how I describe it. I mean, I think we did score some good tries, and great credit to the players. They have been under a little bit of pressure this week because obviously, we were 1 point bottom of the Premiership going into this round, and we had to deal with that a little bit as well. I thought we did with that pretty well, and ultimately, we came through a sticky patch there towards the end of the game. I think the players themselves were a bit frustrated with the second half, if I'm being honest with you. It looked like we could have, after we scored that first try, we should really have accelerated through the game, and actually we became a little bit, I'm not really sure, maybe relaxed a little bit too much. We started to try and run some exits we never needed to. We could have kicked and exited, we could have controlled territory in the second half a lot better than we did, but we came through it, and we've weathered a red card at the end, and we've kind of, not want to say we've hung on in there because we've done more than hung on in there, but we've come away with a very valuable 5 points.
The tries either side of half time, how crucial were they? Because they give you that bit of breathing space.
I mean, they were what it was all about, weren't they? The 2 tries half time, they broke the game open and probably put it into our hands. And as I said, I was pleased with a lot. I was pleased with our character, really, because it is easy to kind of get distracted and in a negative way. And like I say, we weren't at our absolute best today. We'll need to be better in the breakdown in the season coming. We'll need to have a little bit better discipline because the penalty count ended up being quite high against us. But apart from that, again, we showed some good attacking intent, and we've come through a tough game and got our 5 points.
What did you make of the red card, Rob?
Well, it's difficult. I mean, unless you kind of study it in some detail, it's quite hard to make a detailed case around it. But the one thing that I can't deny is that we were told at the start of the season, all Premiership clubs were told at the start of the season, that if you flash a foot into a ruck and it connects with someone's head, then there's a chance that you may get a red card. We were all told that, the players were told that, and that's the scenario. Now, whether it's accidental, whether it's not, whether there's other bodies involved, there's other people moving Tom, whether his view's impeded, in some ways, I'm not sure if that matters so much now. We really have to, the players have been told not to flash feet into rucks, especially from around the side. And it happened, and there's been a connection with I think his shin, isn't it? His shin to the back of Danny Kerr's head, and the referee's made a decision. So I can't criticise the referee because there was a directive at the start of the year. I think how it now goes on, I don't know, because I don't think anybody's been in this scenario yet where it's been kind of thrown in as a straight red card.
I think there's an overemphasis on bringing on substitutions, Rob. I thought substitutions came on possibly disjointing your game today. You could have gone on and scored 50 points possibly.
It's difficult because I think we were watching a few guys who were. There's a few ways of looking at it. We were looking at a few guys who were starting to look tired, but we've also got a game on Friday night, which is a short turnaround. So once you start to feel you've got control of the game, and we do trust our bench, our bench are good players, and actually I think some of our bench players came on and played very well. I actually don't think they were the issue so much. I know people always talk about use of this bench breaking a game, but sometimes you've got to look at the next week and the next week and the next week, and there is an element of making sure you share the game time amongst your squad and try and get the best out of everybody. Some of our bench guys needed game time as well, to keep them ticking over and keep them up to speed. So it was an overall management situation more than just purely about today.
You couldn't get any more out of the game at that stage, could you?
No, that's right. I mean, it was difficult for us. I think we got the 5 points. We're very pleased with that. Was it our best performance we've had here at Stanley Park? No. Was it good enough? It was. Can we move on? Yes. But do need to remember Harlequins are a good side. They're a successful Premiership team, and I'm not going to be too disappointed with the fact they came back into the game in the second half because they've got dangerous players who can score tries. They're a good side. So, like I said, we'll look at it in detail tonight and tomorrow. There are a few work-ons for us. Like I said, I think our biggest work-on is probably around our attacking contact area. If we'd have had a little bit more continuity of ball, it would have made it a lot more interesting for us, or a lot more easy for us in a lot of ways. But like I say, that said, we're pretty satisfied now to get up and running, and we can look forward to next week and trying to collect some more points.
What forfeit does Luke have to pay for scoring 3 tries?
Oh, he doesn't have to pay. He won't pay any forfeits at all. I mean, I think Luke's playing absolutely flat out. He was very good last week in the loss to Saracens. He's bang on form at the moment, and he's one of these guys who's in and around the ball, and he's playing very well for us, and hopefully he can continue his form through to the autumn internationals.
Is it a conscious decision to let him score those tries instead of Thomas Waldron?
Well, it's not. No, it's not a conscious decision, but obviously everyone's aware now the maul laws have changed a little bit. So if Tom's the first guy on the ball, he's unlikely to be the guy who ends up on the ball. You know, your hooker's far more likely to end up on the ball now because he throws in, he enters the maul last. So those mauling tries, I suppose they're a little bit more now to do with how the mauls get set under the new law formations more than anything else. Tom Waldron will probably become a hooker in the next 12 months. Tom Waldron's probably become a hooker just to make sure he can start scoring a few tries. It wouldn't surprise me at all.
Did today represent a step up in your level of performance, or were you just unlucky with the identity of your first two opponents?
I think a little bit of both. I do think we dipped off in the second half up at Wasps when we were in control of the game. So I can't deny that. And I thought last week Saracens were very good. We probably weren't as good as we needed to be. I don't think there's many teams in the Premiership are probably really happy how they're playing at 3 weeks in, 4 weeks in. You do want to improve week by week. It does look like we're getting sharper. It does look like we're getting the right amount of game minutes into the players now. And like I say, overall, I was pretty pleased with today.
Lachie Turner's best game for you so far?
Yeah, Lockie's settling in now, but it was always going to be the case. And I think some people got a bit carried away last year that Lachie came to us after quite an extended period of not playing. So he almost had to go through in the season as having some pre-season, starting to learn things, getting up to speed rugby-wise. So I was very confident. We brought him over here early, really, to get him some minutes last season and get him involved so he could start flat out this season. So it doesn't surprise me that he's now playing on form.